Good afternoon. It is Saturday, October 19th, Vlogtober day 19, and I'm just about to get started on stripping the floor. I cleared this first section, I'll show you here in a second. Did some cleanup, moved some things around, and I'm going to take it section by section as recommended, and I'll show you where I'm starting. So I'm going to go in the direction of the wood this way, starting on this far side of the room. I'll probably do about 4 floorboards wide because I have this full length here. So that's what I'm going to be starting at. This is the most damaged wood in this room right here. Once this is stripped, I'll see if it's still rough. I might have to lightly hand sand this. This was kind of torn out by a chair, so that's like the most damaged. And there's a little gash right over here, vacuum cleaning away right there, and then this, I'll see if I can blend this a little better than it was wherever this repair was. So that is where I am right now, and I will check back in a little bit and see how this strippers works in here. Good Saturday afternoon, everyone. Just gonna do a little summary of what I did today and what I'm thinking so far. I used the citrus strip that I had on the 4 floorboards, and it's sort of it worked pretty well. Definitely a lot of the gunk, whatever was used on the floor, came up. The farther end that I finished last, of course, that was sat longer, came up better than the beginning part, and I didn't really put it on as thick. So this is basically a test strip, because I've got to see how much do I need and how long do I need to let it sit. It looks like to come up really well without me having to really scrape hard at a layer, I need to let it sit for at least an hour. So going forward, I think I'm going to end up doing more than 4 floorboards, but still, here's a mess, excuse me, still within distance that I can reach, so maybe about 6 or 8, because otherwise it's going to take forever. The longest time is the wait time. So in the clips that I will show, you can kind of see, and I may insert a voice over here or not, we'll see, but there's areas where I didn't get enough to come off, so I can just go over them again with a little more of the stripper. I think I've got my bottle sitting upside down now with the cap on, to try to drain down what's left in there, and what I probably have left in the bottle is going to be enough to hit those little patches here and there where I would like to apply some more. After I got it all scraped up with a plastic putty knife, no, it's not a putty knife, a scraper, I went over it with mineral spirits to get off the residue. I used the heaviest of the scrub pads that I have, that help clean off all the residue. So once I did that, I could really see what needed to be gone over again, because that removed a lot of this, the layer of the varnish or whatever is on the floor. It's not polyurethane. I forget what the other thing is that they would have put on. Anyway, I'm gonna go over that with a little bit. I will have to get another bottle of the citrus strip to continue. What I also did while I was waiting is, because I want to try to maximize my time, I went ahead and put a coating of the citrus strip, and I took some footage of that on top of the dresser top to see how that worked. And it worked pretty well, but the weird thing, whatever is on there as a finish, it was like scraping off taffy, soft melted taffy. It was so sticky. It was so hard to get off. And then once I got it off onto my scraper, to get it into the can that I'm dumping it in, it was like glue. It was stringy taffy. It was just like that, melted taffy or chewing gum. It was so gummy and terrible. And I know that's not the stripper's fault, it's whatever the finish is, because paint doesn't come off that way, whatever's on the floor doesn't come off that way. You can just glide it along and it just comes right off, and you dump it in your can and it's no big deal. But this was so sticky, it was terrible. So whatever finish they used on that, ugh. So I am not looking forward to stripping the rest of that thing, but I've got to get it off. And it didn't take off. I mean, I didn't leave it on all that long. I just, you know, because I didn't put it on too thick. I just wanted to see what I was doing. So, it will need another good thick coat on it to get it off. And I did wipe it down with mineral spirits. And that, you know, again, with the scrubby pad, the hardest one that I have, or the roughest one, took a lot off, so I can see it's going to get down to the wood. It's not a problem. It will come off, it will get clean, but yuck, that stuff is gross. But But the floor, and as far as the color goes, the way the floor, I don't know if you'll be able to tell in the video that I shot, but the floor has a nice color. Some of the darker areas are definitely lightening up. I'm anxious to see how it's going to do with more of the citrus strip on it. But the way it's looking right now, I'm kind of happy with the color. And I really don't want it to be any darker. So, I mean, because the stripper does not take off stain, that's into the wood. It's only taking off whatever surface finish was put on it, which is totally, you know, dull and gross right now. But if the whole thing ends up looking nice and even color-wise, I may not add any additional stain. I may just leave it the way it is and go ahead and polyurethane it, which will eliminate an entire step. Because I don't want to, if the color is nice, even if it's not perfectly even, if the color is nice and light and not like black in spots, I mean, here and there's going to be those darker streaks, but that's fine. Because it's showing the wood, and it's not like there's other black, there's good black and there's bad black. It's hard for me to describe because there's sections like in the other room that has a much worse floor that hasn't been done by anyone before. This one had been. That has like this black perimeter, which is weird. And I think that's probably going to come up. That won't be a problem. I don't know what that was. But this one here and there's just like darker marks, maybe from different stains or something. And I think that'll be fine. So depending on how it all looks when it's done, I'll make the final call. But as of right now, the strip that I cleared, I was really liking the color of it. The mineral spirits are odorless, but I've got my window open in there because it does stink anyway. The citrus strip didn't smell that bad. The mineral spirits do. They're kind of stinky. Anyway, that's where I am today, and I am calling it a night as far as work goes. I'm gonna make some homemade macaroni and cheese and some broccoli for dinner, and probably won't talk to you again tonight, so I will say goodbye. I will film tomorrow anything that I do, maybe just the little touch-ups on the floor with the rest of the stripper as it's drained. I'll go over that. That may be the only thing I do tomorrow. And Monday is back at work, so I won't be doing any more major work in the room until Tuesday. So I will see you when I see you. Bye.